Welcome to the Hermitcraft recap. My name is PixelRiffs, our writer is ZloyXP, and he is not to be trusted and apparently can convince a couple of thousand people to throw an iceberg at you. In all seriousness, thank you so much for the uplifting comments on last week's recap tag. It's nice to know how many people aren't going to let me go and want to commission drawings of French ladies. Also, now I know what we've been inflicting on the hermits this whole time.
That's my face there after spending way too long on it. That's a summary actually right there.
Sorry, not sorry. And speaking of tags, Biffa has finally come out of hiding, dusted off the dunce head, and slapped it onto one of his fellow hermits after an epic aerial chase. The best part is that he pre-enchanted the aforementioned dunce head with a cursive binding book, and Doc M equips it without a second thought.
I'm picking up stuff for him. Is he going to put it all on or not? Yes! We got him! Well played, Doc. Well played.
According to the rules of tag, this should take the dunce head out of circulation, but not before it's caused Doc a significant existential crisis.
Can I get rid of that thing ever? Like if I die? I'm cursed. I'm cursed to wear the stupid dunce head forever. No.
And with that out of the way, let's take a look at all the events and mishaps that occurred on the Hermitcraft server this week. Starting with Doc M, who, despite wearing the dunce head, seems to be making some smart business decisions, such as recruiting Good Times with Scar to build a fancy garden outside the stock exchange, building a fancy tower to conceal his enderpearl cannon, and making sure the fancy vault that stores all of Ijevin's diamond blocks is protected by an army of fancy invisible spiders.
A little downside with the spiders is, of course, I would have loved if we had a zombie spawner here, then I could have made another baby zombie bouncing Betty trap, and also making zombies sticking around or any other mob that can hold something is of course way more easy to do, because I cannot give anything to the spiders.
But before all that can happen, he takes a moment to swim in his newfound riches. Quite literally, as it turns out, the walls of the jacuzzi are made of diamond blocks, and when the jets are turned on, invisible armor stands bob up and down on the surface while he and Ren stare into each other's eyes and wonder how they conned Ijevin into giving them this much money. Which might turn on them big time, as Jevin was not exactly thrilled about being given the role of executive assistant janitor in the company instead of board membership like he was promised.
This is highly, I'm going to put highly in caps here, disrespectful. Oh yes, that is like the most passive-aggressive business email ever.
For now, he only threatens to reclaim the funds in what amounts to a strongly worded email, but the actual repossession may not be far behind, especially if the Wolves of Hermit Street won't actually come up with the return on his investment. Thankfully, Doc has just purchased Azumavoid's newest business establishment, the Tool Repair Shop. This nifty service allows you to nigh instantly repair any tool you're holding by simply removing a green die from the output slot in a furnace, all thanks to furnaces with hopper outputs actually storing the XP from smelted items as of the update Aquatic. The actual product is a bit more convoluted. Customers are expected to first buy a repair token from the shop, then enter the facility with the magic ovens, but it still beats going all the way to the end or the nearest pigman grinder. Plus, you know, the build looks nice.
And I just take it out. Boom! Oh, do we get to keep the cactus green? Is the cactus green free? We're gonna keep.
Another plus is that this one won't have to be cleaned of the recent convex pranks, unlike the rest of Azuma's storefronts.
That's an ugly witch right there. Look at those warts. Look at that unibrow. Goodness me.
And here's a fun tidbit, the diamonds Tango Tech once dropped off for us in Mumbo Jumbo's spoiler shop, the ones renamed from Hermitcraft Recap, showed up in Azuma's wool shop. Nice to know those are still in circulation. I wonder where they'll end up next. Maybe someone will bring them to Joe Hills' new store, Dirt Cheap, but only if they've forgotten to bring eggs with them. The off-the-wall but frankly kind of brilliant business philosophy here is that you can exchange a stack of dirt for one single egg, but if you don't have an egg on you, you can buy eggs from the neighbouring chest for the low price of 1 diamond. Much like Joe's Halloween store, Good Times with Scar is the first customer through the door. Gotta spend that sweet stock exchange cash somewhere.
Hope you brought eggs.
Outside of the commission work for the Doctor, Scar takes it upon himself to sort out the storage area of his volcano lair. He mostly builds super detailed walkways over the concrete magma until Cubfan shows up and installs a shulkerbox packer into a wall for him.
it looks like a Slurpee machine. You don't think it looks like a Slurpee machine? Come on, you come up here, you pull down the thing, you get your cup in there, and you get the little swirl action. You put the lid on it, and then get a little extra in the lid area. Dude, I love Slurpees back in the day.
A similar contraption was brought to the Concorp lands not too long ago, and the ground beneath it has recently disappeared in suspicious circumstances. Originally, Cub was planning to drop a mob grinder in there and hook it up to his million-item storage, but after some consideration, he went after natural farm resources instead, starting with a cactus farm down at the very bedrock. Other than that, Cub is getting really competitive. For one, the golf course he's building is expanding rapidly, with even more holes you'll have to navigate through some off-the-cliff terrain generation. For two, he is not letting go of the Phantom Hunt competition and personally elevates it over the 1,000-point mark, which doesn't stop Grian from wedging right into second place. And for three, Cub enters the How to Kill a Tango contest. And if your name happens to be Tango, first of all, cruel parents, second of all, please stop watching here. Also, nice job on that villager mod. So, Cub fans' route to kill a guy is to drown him, then suffocate him, then drop an anvil on his head. But it's no regular anvil drop. Instead of just throwing the metal thing at him, Cub first drops it into the ocean right onto a bubble column. This propels it right back into the sky, because physics, and only then crushes the supposed victim like a giant skipping stone. Being an entity in Minecraft sure is fun. I wonder if he's tried that with TNT minecarts yet.
That would definitely have killed me if I was another half block forward.
Impulse SV is relying on more organic methods of killing his good friend Tango. The Rube Goldberg machine of near-death experiences now contains a Drowned, in addition to the Ghast and the Magma Cube, which has now been repositioned to deal the final heart of damage. Trying not to kill Tango until the very last second does require a lot of testing, which goes about as well as you'd expect.
Uh-oh. That just missed me. This is the story of my day.
There's even TNT, slime block launchers, and anvils in the mechanism now, so there are plenty of opportunities for Tango to die prematurely. We'll just have to trust it all goes right on the day. Even if Impulse doesn't win the contest, at least he got a near-death experience out of Scar as well.
He doesn't see us. Sneak up on him. He doesn't see us. Ready? Wachow! He's ready. I'm not in. Don't worry. I got him good. He got scared.
False Symmetry throws some scare at her base back on the server after a 2-week break. It's a good time to put up some Halloween decorations, and what better way to deck out a seaside base than a giant octopus spreading its tentacles through the windows and passages. Also, the house she built last week totally was a house and not an actual station. Thanks for pointing that out. There's still no actual station though, so functionally it's the same, we just didn't clarify that last time. Insert segue to Zombie Cleo that doesn't sound sexist, because, well, some time ago we asked you to comment Monster Turd on a Stress Monster video. It made sense at the moment, we promise. Well, some of our viewers got confused, and despite the video being linked in the description and the iCards, went to Zombie Cleo's channel and commented Monster Turd there. This threw her for a loop, because Monster Turd is very much not a thing on her channel, just like Spanish Chair is not a thing on ours, but it also highlighted that some Hermitcraft viewers can't tell apart the female cast members. For those poor souls, she prepared a comprehensive guide to the only 3 women playing on Hermitcraft, in which they morph into a Megazord at one point. So that happened.
So, with their powers combined, they make the Hermit Homunculus, or the Hermunculus, if you will. Yes, this is the final form of the Hermunculus, if you guys seriously keep on getting us confused. I mean, them confused. We're also colour-coded for your convenience. False Symmetry is blonde. Stress is brunette. I am a redhead. It's not hard.
In her absence, the island of Toradora is being taken care of by Wells Night. Pirates need apartments, and who better to outsource a building to? For a welcome change, Wells actually shows his step-by-step thought process on this build, even recording his screen as he Googles inspirational images for the project. A few too many apps on the Windows taskbar for our liking, but at least he's not using the Discord light theme.
You'll take it from my cold, dead hands.
Back to the server, Wells Night actually nearly finishes the main Nether Hub haul. It's so good that it apparently convinced the rest of the group to just have Greco-Roman style as a main theme for the season.
This should not be that hard. This should be very simple to do.
Speaking of people who use too much quartz, Rendog is almost done outfitting the stock exchange building with all the fancy blocks he can get his paws on. Only the best for these staff-only staircases.
Ren, you call this simple? This is amazing.
At least the Grand Central Station build is made out of concrete, which, oh wait, that's a super grindy block to obtain as well. Still, he has a diamond hot tub to relax in after all the work is done.
My dudes, we are literally in a jacuzzi of diamonds and diamond blocks. One of the most genius things to ever come out of Doc N's brain. I am extremely impressed.
TFC has been creating a relaxed experience in the depths of his mountain vault, working on an artificial sky simulating a day-night cycle with a glowstone sun, fluffy white clouds, and a whole bunch of blue wool. Lighting all this underground business is still a high priority, so he near enough buys out all the sea lanterns from Iskal's shop, and after a quick search for blaze rods again, dips back underground to switch his storage system auto furnaces over to green fuel, by which we mean lots and lots of kelp blocks. Mumbo Jumbo's storage system is finally completed this week after he puts in the vast amount of work required to label everything without using too many item frames. That's not the biggest obstacle though, since the amount of chickens spammed around his base has led to half the hoppers being full of eggs. Naturally, Grian has to stop by to revisit the scene of the crime, setting himself on fire in the process.
Why is there a fire in my base? He's on fire again. I start to worry about Grian at times, you know that? He's actually just burned to death.
Mumbo also starts building his first house of the season, which is a solid activity for episode 35. It ends up being more of a terrarium though, unless he plans to build a throwback to his original treehouse in that central tree. Having not caused nearly enough trouble yet, Grian swoops by in a phantom skin and with a whole pack of nightmare birds following him. That'll teach him to be a good neighbour. To strengthen the Architects' alliance, Grian connects their bases with 2 item tubes for easy package and message transportation, so now Mumbo can ignore messages on yet another platform. The logistics and dispenser bits are left for the spoon to install, which is a solid decision considering how much time it took Grian to figure out his super smelter. One does, however, wonder what else his time is being spent on if even Grian himself admits that the item pipe didn't take that much time. What is the mysterious dirt contraption in his base that random explosions are sometimes heard out of? Anyway, iJevin 2 is making a creeper farm, the cat-based design, but a very small one, just to try it out and keep loaded when he's nearby. It is a bit of a brain twister, but then again, what mob farm isn't? His ravine apartment is nearly complete, even though it could use some actual furniture. At least the view out of the window is nice with the conduit beacon combo blaring light into the sky 24/7.
All of this needs to be fixed up and cleaned up, but this thing, oh, it looks so good.
This is peculiar since, as we find out, Jevin apparently has a phobia of the open ocean, which doesn't stop him from working on a dock area of his medieval mega build. And finally, speaking of mega builds, there's Iskal, whose desert city seems to have sprung up overnight, if you don't count the hours of intensive work done on miscellaneous live streams. Don't worry though, he still puts together a couple of new houses for the YouTube audience just so you know what he's going for.
Just gives even more things to look at.
A quick dig down to reposition his beacon leads to him finding a pair of spawners for skeletons and zombies, which almost justifies our Mobilisa joke from last week, but after that he's back to the surface and getting some help from Grian to turn his town square into a bazaar, which is, well, bizarre. Okay, that joke may have worked better on paper, and that's about it for this week's recap. Our writer is LoyXP, and my name is Pixelriffs. Don't forget to leave a like while you're still here, and subscribe so you won't miss future recaps. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.